There's only 4 teams left, which means 2 playoff games remain before the national championship game. And we are going to pick these games against the spread now. This is Winning Cures Everything. It's a college football podcast. I am your host, Gary Seegers. Of course, you can follow me on X at GaryWCE. If you have not already watched, we did a full 24-minute deep dive, 24-plus minute deep dive on both the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl on the BetUS College Football Show. So make sure and click the link in the description and go check those out. For now, let's go ahead and dive into these games. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time. We don't want to waste time today, but we're going to start with the Orange Bowl between Penn State and Notre Dame. And we're just going to go through really what I like about each side. I think that's the easiest way to do this. Currently, Notre Dame is favored by 1.5 points. And let's see, our money line here, you can get let's say an even 100. You can get a plus 105 on Penn State, etc. As far as the total is 45. There's a 44.5 out there. There is a 45.5 out there. So you can get either side of that key number right now if you want. But let's dive into it. Let's take a look at what we got. My stats on the season have got Penn State favored by 3.13. And that's not just stats, but that's stats and power rating. My power rating, as you see, has got Notre Dame by a little over 4 points on a neutral, which is where we are. However, the stats are so heavily skewed towards Penn State that it actually has Penn State favored by 3.13. Based on the last 4 weeks of stats, it would have Penn State favored by 8, which is really, really high variance. I mean, this is based on the last 4 ball games. I found that kind of surprising. But, Notre Dame had a relatively close game with Georgia. The final score ended up being relatively close with Indiana. USC was a close game for Notre Dame. I mean, there was all kind of different stuff here. Penn State blew out Maryland, blew out SMU, kind of blew out Boise, is what it is. All right, so let's look when Penn State has the ball on offense. Let's see. All right, so they've got a pretty dynamic passing attack, right? Drew Aller is number 8 in QBR, as you can see right there. Now, Notre Dame's defense is number 1 in that. But if you look at who Notre Dame has played, they haven't exactly played some top-tier quarterbacks. They had to play Gunnar Stockton, the backup for Georgia, just last week. They did play Curtis Rourke again with Indiana, but Indiana, not the most talented team. Speaking of talent, we've got Penn State number 11 in 247 talent composite. We have got Notre Dame number 10. So we're pretty close there. These two teams are pretty similar. Penn State's numbers would tell you that they are not explosive. Number 75 in passing explosiveness, number 80 in rushing explosiveness. But they are top 10 in rushing success rate, number 24 in passing success rate, and they're number 12 in yards per pass attempt, which means that Drew Aller's ADOT is pretty out there. Their top 3 wide receivers average over 15 yards per catch. So while they don't have a ton of explosive plays, I still think that they have more explosive potential than what Notre Dame has. I'll say that. The Notre Dame defense is pretty good against the run, but if you start looking at some of these numbers, Penn State number 14 in offensive line yards, number 31 in stuff rate allowed. Notre Dame's defense number 49 in offensive line yards allowed, number 91 in stuff rate. You start looking at standard downs, etc., and that's basically 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, or 2nd and 5, something like that, 3rd and 3, all that standard, right, where you have everything available to you. Notre Dame's defense number 2 in predicted points added allowed, number 8 in standard down success. Penn State is number 6 in standard down success. Penn State can stay ahead of the chains, especially with Allen and Singleton coming out of the backfield. Number 5 in offensive success rate for Penn State. Number 8 for Notre Dame. You look at Notre Dame's schedule. I mean, there's just nobody on there that can throw the football. So yeah, if you have even an average secondary, even an average pass defense, then you're okay. Havoc rate, Notre Dame, number 34. Penn State is number 3 in havoc allowed. So I don't think that Notre Dame is going to be able to get to Drew Aller on this. On the other side of the ball, Penn State, not great at throwing the football. They're number 41 in QBR, but number 78 in yards per pass attempt. That ain't great. They're number 61 in predicted points added per pass. That is not how they get things done. Just not even close. When they are put in a passing down situation, 3rd and long, something like that, for those that don't know, they're number 70 in passing down success rate, 31%. Penn State is number 33 in passing down success allowed. Penn State is pretty good against the pass. Where this game is going to be won is whether or not Notre Dame can run the football. Notre Dame is number 2 in predicted points added per rush. They are number 3 in yards per rush. They are number 2 in rushing explosiveness. But they're number 24 in offensive line yards and number 29 in stuff rate allowed. That's not great, especially against this schedule. But you look at Penn State, number 3 in offensive line yards allowed, number 1 in stuff rate. They are number 7 in PPA allowed per rush, and they are number 11 in yards allowed per rush. They're really good. That's just what they are very good at defending the one thing that Notre Dame does well on offense. So if Notre Dame can't throw the football and they can't run the football, I don't know how they're going to score. They are number 101 in special teams efficiency. Notre Dame is. Penn State is number 70. The punt or the kick return for a touchdown against Georgia last week was the only kick or punt return for a touchdown for Notre Dame this entire season. I don't expect them to be able to replicate that. Obviously, we'll see. As far as interceptions per pass, Penn State's defense is number 10 in interceptions. Well, Notre Dame doesn't throw interceptions. Penn State not great at getting fumbles when they're on defense. Notre Dame is number 61 in fumbles per rush, or fumbles lost per rush. So not a huge advantage there either. When you look at 5 factors plus talent, that's all the efficiency numbers, right? So 5 factors include, it's the 5 factors that will win you a ball game more times than not. And that is efficiency, explosiveness, field position, finishing drives, and turnovers. That's your 5 factors. Notre Dame is number 1 in the country in 5 factors plus talent. Penn State is number 4. Pretty interesting. So I think that when you look at schedule strength, Notre Dame is number 31, Penn State is number 17. We have seen Penn State against more teams like Notre Dame, although they haven't exactly played a mobile quarterback this year. That could be a bit of an issue. We'll see exactly what kind of success Riley Leonard has. But when it comes down to it, this thing was all the way up at Notre Dame minus 2.5. I thought it might get to 3 because it kept moving that direction. Today, there's been a lot of buyback on Penn State. I'm on the Penn State side. I'm going to take Penn State plus the 1.5. I think they win the game outright, and you can get a plus 105 money line. Penn State is not great by any stretch of the imagination, but let me take that back. That sounds terrible, I know, but that's not exactly what I mean. Penn State is not on the Ohio State level. I guess they would be considered great with this season. They're one of the last 4 teams standing, and I don't know that I could name a bunch of teams that are better than they are. So, Penn State is a good football team. I think they're better than Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame has had to prove it the same way that Penn State has throughout the season. Granted, Penn State has had a pretty easy schedule as well for Big Ten standards, but still, they're number 17 in current strength of schedule. They've handled their business. I will take Penn State to win that game outright. Now, right quick, before we go further, let me go ahead and tell you. Check out Ticketsmarter.com. That is the best third-party ticketing vendor on the market. WCE10, going to save you $10 off an order of $100 or more. WCE20 is going to save you $20 off an order of $300 or more, and you can use those codes every single time you buy tickets. If you want to go to one of these playoff games, and then you decide that you still want to go to the national championship game, or you want to go to an NFL playoff game, or you want to go to a concert, AC/DC is going on tour. Just so you know, they're going to be in Nashville in May. Might see you there. We'll see. But yeah, you can buy tickets to anything, and you just go to Ticketsmarter.com and use those promo codes WCE10, WCE 20, it's going to save you money every single time. Think smarter with Ticket Smarter. Let me also tell you about Go Sleeves. GoSleeves.com/WCE. That WCE promo code is going to save you 15% on the best kinesiology technology on the market. These compression sleeves, the compression socks, shirts, they've got cooling gel and whatnot. It's going to help your joints if you are an old man like me who constantly has to be in the floor playing with Legos or has to be wrestling with a 6-year-old because he wants to be Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes or whatever. Then go ahead and do it. Check it out. GoSleeves.com/WCE, and that's going to help you out quite a bit. If you have not already, subscribe to bettingcfb.com. That is my subscription site. It helps out the show. These sheets that you see here, you can get those over there. If you want your own copy of it, go ahead and check it out. bettingcfb.com. It's $5 a month, $50 for the year. I do bonus audio over there. I write up things. We're going to get really heavily invested in it once we get into the off season. But that kind of stuff, I do put out plays over there, things that I bet, etc. Go ahead and check it out. bettingcfb.com. Oh, like the video, subscribe, all the good stuff. All right, let's dive back into it. And the Cotton Bowl on Friday night between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Texas Longhorns. And boy, howdy, what a game. What a game this is. Ohio State currently favored by, there's a couple of 5.5s in the market. There's 6s. I think 6 is the consensus line right now. But Ohio State favored by 6. The total here is 53.5. And our money line, the best Texas money line you could get is plus 195. Yeah, there's plus 185s, minus 225 if you want to bet. Yeah, that's the best number. Minus 225 if you want to bet Ohio State on this. My number has got Ohio State by 2.8. Based on the last 4 weeks, I've got Ohio State by 23.8 points. Yes, that is how good the Buckeyes have been playing as of late. They are ridiculous. This team has just been rolling through everybody. And the scary thing is they have had this. They have been capable of this the entire season. And that's why people get a little wary of betting on them. Because, one, you're playing Texas in Arlington. There's going to be a lot of Longhorn fans. Like a ton of them. So, maybe home field advantage, maybe not. We'll see. Weather might determine whether or not this game even gets played on Friday. It might be Saturday. We'll see about that. But looking at the numbers, Ohio State is awesome on defense. I mean, just awesome. This is a dominant team. They are number 5 in yards allowed per rush. Excuse me. Allergies are killing me right now. They're number 5 in yards allowed per rush, number 2 in yards allowed per pass attempt, number 4 in QBR allowed. They are number 20 in rushing success rate allowed. They are number 6 in passing success rate allowed. Like, this is a dominant defense. Number 2 in PPA allowed per defensive drive. They're number 2 in offensive PPA per drive. They're number 1 in the country in PPA margin. That's predicted points added margin. Texas is number 7. They are number 36 on offense, number 3 on defense. But let's talk about the Texas offense against this Ohio State defense first. Texas, if they have a good matchup, they can run the football. They ran for 300 yards on Clemson. And then they turn around the next week against an Arizona State team that is not nearly as talented on defense as Clemson is. And they ran for 58 yards, 60 yards, whatever it was, on like 20 or 30 carries. No, it was 30-something carries. It was 1.8 yards per carry for Texas last week. I mean, who knows, right? Who knows? And yeah, I know Texas has got some offensive line issues, guys that are banged up and whatnot, running backs that are banged up. You still got to be better than that. I mean, what are we doing? I worry about Texas being able to finish drives. That's been an issue for them for quite a while. They are number 57 in points per scoring opportunity. And a scoring opportunity is when you get a first down inside the opponent's 40-yard line. They average 4 points per trip inside the opponent 40-yard line. They're number 12 in scoring opportunities per game. The issue is Ohio State's defense is number 1 in points allowed per scoring drive. They do not let teams get into the end zone. Let's see. Come down to the bottom. Defensive red zone touchdown rate. Ohio State is number 2 in the country. Only 41% of the time when teams get into the red zone do they score a touchdown against Ohio State. Texas, offensive red zone touchdown rate, number 52. Only 64% of the time. So, offensive red zone conversion percentage, Texas, number 96. Ohio State's defense is number 2. On the other side of the ball, by the way, talent composite, Texas is number 4. Ohio State is number 3. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Ohio State's offense is on another level right now. They are unbelievable. I don't know how else to say it. They are so good currently. The issue there is currently, right? Because they haven't done this all year. Against Michigan, they only scored 10 points. So where has the passing attack been? Where has all of this? This defense for Texas, I talked about Notre Dame not really having played teams that could throw the ball, like teams, all that kind of stuff, right? It depends on what your schedule looks like. Texas, there's not a single wide receiver core that they have played that is anywhere close to what they're going to be dealing with in this ballgame. How about this fact? Texas has not allowed more than 3 touchdowns in a single game all season. Not a single game have they allowed more than 3 touchdowns. I think Ohio State could have 3 touchdowns by halftime. That's how good I think this offense actually is. Ohio State is number 1 in PPA per pass, number 7 in yards per pass attempt, number 4 in QBR. They are number 26 in passing explosiveness, number 10 in havoc allowed, all that kind of stuff, right? They are really, really good on that side of the ball. Now, if you look at Texas's numbers, yeah, number 3 in PPA allowed per pass, number 1 in yards allowed per pass attempt, number 2 in QBR allowed. They're number 2 in pass success rate allowed, number 2 in passing explosiveness allowed, number 15 in havoc rate. Maybe with the Ohio State injuries in the offensive line, they can get there. But I don't think so. I don't think Texas is going to be able to get home because I think that the offensive play callers for Ohio State are going to be able to get the ball out quick. I think Will Howard is perfectly capable of doing that. Texas against the run, number 59 in rush rate, but they are number 11 in yards allowed per rush, number 4 in rushing explosiveness allowed, but they're only number 39 in offensive line yards, number 30 in stuff rate. Ohio State is number 49 in stuff rate allowed, so that certainly isn't great, but they are number 19 in rushing explosiveness, number 20 in offensive line yards. They're pretty good at breaking off long runs, especially lately, right? Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, that bunch, they're really good. Ohio State is number 2 in the country in 5 factors plus talent, but they have also played the number 8 current strength of schedule. Now, Texas has played number 11, which I find interesting, but I think a lot of it has to do with matchups and when they played certain teams, etc. So it is what it is. Regardless, Ohio State is number 17 in points per scoring opportunity on offense. Texas is number 2. So you're looking at the number 1 and number 2 teams in preventing points once a team gets a first down inside their 40-yard line. I still think Ohio State is going to smoke these guys. I mean, that's just I don't think there's a team in college football this year that can handle Ohio State when they're playing their A game. This roster is ridiculous. And here's the kicker. They don't have their starting center, and they don't have their starting left tackle, and they're still smoking teams. Destroyed Tennessee. Destroyed Oregon. Texas gave up 500 yards of total offense on 97 plays to Arizona State last week. I think Ohio State's a different beast. So I am going to take Ohio State minus the 6. So it looks like to me we're going to have Ohio State versus Penn State part 2. And I'm certain that is not what Nittany Lion fans want. It is what it is. All right. You guys have been fantastic. What a fun year. We're going to talk about the national championship game next week. I am very excited about it. What a year. What a season. Right? All right, check it out, the BetUS College Football Show. Don't forget, of course, to check out bettingcfb.com, ticketsmarter.com. Use the promo code WCE10 or WCE20. And, of course, don't forget to check out Go Sleeves as well. You guys are fantastic. Let's wrap this thing up. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. God bless college football, and hopefully all of your tickets cash this week. Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Make sure and follow me on Twitter at GaryWCE. If you want to toss in a question, you can email me, Gary@winningcureseverything.com. Make sure and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.